One of the strongest winter storm signals I've seen in quite some time has basically popped up right in front of us, and this storm has a concerning look to it. And I'm going to explain why as we move deeper throughout the video, but I mean, this thing's right out ahead of us. The beginning stages of this storm is going to start like later this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to break the video up like this: Central US, Eastern US. And timestamps will be up. So obviously, if you live in the Eastern US, you probably don't care too much about the Central US. So just utilize those timestamps. We'll go over all model runs, all guidance. Just remember, the stuff you see in this video is not a locked-in forecast. Please remember that. At the very end, we'll nerd out with you guys a little bit and try to explain the setup. My name is Mitch. Good Sunday evening. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling tonight. So let's go over the Central US first. We're going to go over all model runs. And we're going to start off with a 12Z Euro and start off all model runs with this coming Thursday evening, the 22nd, the evening of the 22nd. As you can tell, there's not really anything going on across the Central US. But watch how fast that changes. As we move forward here, we get into Friday morning, the 23rd. This Friday, guys, this is not a threat at day 15 or day 10 or something like that. It is right in front of us. So as you can tell, there's some winter weather breaking out across the southern plains. I'm not going to get uber detailed on state-by-state breakdown because this is not the exact way it's going to unfold, but the signal is widespread for a winter storm and very loud. All right, we get into Friday evening. There's winter weather breaking out as far south as northern Texas. And then we continue. Look at all this moisture with this system. Cold, shallow, close to the surface Arctic air is diving all the way down to Texas, and we get this widespread looking freezing rain event. Anything in the pink you see, that is freezing rain depicted by this specific or any given model run that I show you. Any kind of orange you see, that's sleet. And then the blue that you see, that is snow. So you got an ice storm ongoing across central, northern Texas, getting into Louisiana. And then you see the heavy snow on top of this in northern areas of Arkansas. You got heavy snow up in the southern areas of Missouri. I mean, this is getting into next Saturday evening. This is under day 7, guys. Under day 7. It's Sunday evening right now. This is next Saturday. We basically got this huge winter storm breaking out across areas of the South, all the way up into areas of Kansas, Missouri, and I mean, look at Tennessee. Look at the deep South. Just wild stuff. And then the moisture tries to reload down here. So next Sunday morning, you got another round of winter weather that's breaking out almost all the way down to Houston. I mean, Shreveport's getting it, and then it wraps up. And we're going to stop it right there. There's going to be other time frames, I think, to watch after this too. But we're getting into early next week. But, I mean, did you see that? That's insane. What's wild is this system is so close to us that the short-range global models are showing it, like the Euro 06Z and the 18Z, which is 18Z is the current most up-to-date run that we have. So same thing, it started off Thursday evening. We get into, this was Wednesday evening. Then we get into Thursday evening. Not a whole lot going on. Then we get into Friday. And I mean, it shows it already. 120 hours out, winter weather breaking out across the plains, cold high suppressing the cold and the moisture to the south. And I mean, we got a winter weather event breaking out across Kansas, a little bit more amped up on this run. But I mean, look at the very end of the run. We get all the way to Saturday morning. Look at this ice storm developing across areas of northern Texas, central Texas. You got snow up in the panhandle of Texas. You got this just, like I said, sometimes I'll get too caught up in the details here, but just look at that. That is a huge winter storm signal. Look how long this thing is. It's stretching from, I mean, just about Arizona, New Mexico. And I mean, it just goes off your screen. All right, and we continue to go, and this is the final frame of it next Saturday afternoon, midday. And I mean, we got a crippling ice storm developing if this is the way it plays out. From, I mean, Lubbock all the way to Memphis, all the way into Nashville. And it's still getting cold. There's still a lot of cold air pressing down on this moisture. I'm going to explain the setup here in a second. And then we look at the GFS, which we know gets a bad rap. But the most important thing you look at here is all model guidance agreeing? And it absolutely is. It is really just mind-blowing how all guidance agrees here with something. Friday afternoon, you can see the area of heavy winter precipitation developing across Oklahoma and surrounding states. You continue to move this forward into Saturday morning, the 24th. And I mean, look, GFS always goes crazy with sleet. And that's what's showing up in the orange here. But I mean, just view this as a winter storm across areas of Texas. You know, I've had a lot of people ask about Texas, Dallas, and stuff, and, you know, it's been an incredibly warm overall winter. Well, I've always said this about the Southern Plains. Things can change lightning fast, and this is probably going to be a great example of it. But look at this winter storm breaking out from northern Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, getting into the Mid-South. I'm going to talk more about Tennessee here in a second. This is really just zooming in on the plains. And then look, the winter weather's dropping all the way almost down to the Texas-Mexico line. This is Saturday. Look at this. I mean, you got a freezing rain event all the way down to the Gulf Coast line. This is Saturday evening. It's continuing. And you see how the winter weather is suppressing south? That is because the cold high to the north is suppressing the energy south. Incredibly cold air mass. And then, you know, we'll stop it there. So, you know, one thing you can look at here is the Euro AI. Now, this depiction here, it's only going to show precipitation when you have to look at the temperature profiles. But this is the kind of the AI guidance. This is kind of new on the block, right? But you take it in the next Friday. Well, you can say this Friday now, this Friday and a Saturday. And there it is, big moisture bomb showing up. Now, what does the temperatures look like at, say, this time frame? Let's look at the temperatures. Yeah, I mean, that's too warm for anything in the Dallas area. But in Oklahoma, look at the temperature gradient. I mean, that is something. I mean, I can sit here and overanalyze the upper temperatures aloft and tell you exactly what it is, but we're not going to do all that. The main focus is, do we have a winter storm signal here? And we absolutely do. That's too warm for Dallas, but I mean, you got cold air surging in, and that's a winter storm moving into the eastern U.S. So there's something there on the AI guidance too. And then just to round this off for the central U.S., the Canadian model shows it also. Except it's a little bit delayed here. We get into Saturday morning. There it is. Big winter storm for northern Texas, central Texas, moving to Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana. And then there it goes, chugging to the south. And then you have more precipitation develops after that. So if this was correct, which Canadian's not the best model out there, I'll tell you that. You know, Sunday afternoon, another round of heavy winter weather shows up, another widespread winter storm. You know, and then that moves into the eastern U.S. too. So if you look at the ensemble guidance for snow, I'm going to take a look at the Euro ensemble and the GFS ensemble. Remember, the Euro ensemble makes up 51 members, and this is the 4-day sort of look here. So you're going to see a snow footprint pop up, and then you'll see it disappear. But as we're starting off Friday, look how it lights up right there in the plains. I mean, there's a signal all the way to northern Texas. The signal's higher for ice down there, but that is a solid footprint. That's a loud signal. This far out, which isn't very far out. Few inches of snow. And of course, this is blended guidance. So, and I mean, you got some members showing probably a foot of snow, some nothing. So it blends it all together, creates a mean or average. But that is a strong signal right here. And then, of course, it leaves your screen. Okay, what about the GFS ensemble? What does it show? Same thing, 4-day increments, 96 hours. And it's highlighting that same area, except it's a little bit slendered out, if you will. So, I mean, it's a strong signal for snow. All right. So what I'm concerned about is the ice. Now, this is something that Pivotal Weather shows. I think it's a great product. I think it kind of overdoes it, but I could also see this setup favoring something like this. But just view this as a freezing rain signal. Don't get too caught up in the amounts here, just like with the snow ensemble. And I mean, that is a crippling ice signal for areas of Texas into Louisiana, into Arkansas, into Mississippi, and then western areas of Tennessee. That is a strong freezing rain signal. So that's the central U.S. Let's talk about the eastern U.S. I know this is where the bulk of my audience is, but you know, it makes sense to start off from west to east. That's the way the weather flows, and it will hit you. It'll hit the people out west faster. So sooner is what I meant. So Euro. Let's go over the eastern U.S. We're going to start off all guidance with Friday afternoon. The dates is up here, the day of the week. Don't focus too much on Zulu time. All right. Already watch out like a quick disturbance right here that could deliver a little bit of light snow across the mountains. And then we move past that, and then you can see it creeping up on your screen, right? We get into Saturday morning, and then we get into Saturday evening, and you have a huge winter storm moving in. It's all snow in Tennessee, getting all the way up into Kentucky. Remember, the pink is freezing rain, and any kind of orange you see, that's sleet. But look at the freezing rain moving all the way to Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, and you keep going here, and it turns into just a catastrophic, huge winter weather event, ice storm, if this is the way it plays out. You got nasty freezing rain down here in and Georgia, the entire state of South Carolina, by the way, just a deep, ridiculously cold air damming event, and I'll explain why here in a second. And it's heavy snow in the mountains. This is extremely heavy snow in North Carolina up into Virginia, and it continues. I mean, we go all the way into Sunday. I mean, this is literally 1 week from right now, and I mean, we're dealing with a winter storm, and then it's over. And there might be more stuff after this too. I mean, there's another winter storm right there that shows up. This was the original big time frame to watch, the last few days of January, and I don't think we're done. And then you look at the current 18Z. Like I said, in the central U.S., if you tune into that part of the video, this event is so close to us that we actually can see the beginning stages of this winter storm at the end of the 18Z Euro, which only goes 144 hours out. And same thing, Friday afternoon, who knows, maybe some wet snow right here. But as we're moving forward, cold air is pressing down this moisture, and we look at the final frame here. This is Saturday midday. It looks very similar to the 12Z. We got, I would say it probably looks a little bit more icy, and that's what we got to watch. Are we going to trend to more of an icy scenario? But it definitely looks icier for Tennessee. We're going to get a lot of back and forth with this, guys. But it's a nasty ice storm up in the Tennessee, northern areas of Alabama. And if you were to continue to move this, if it went further out, cold air is pressing down on this. So a lot of this grain, a lot of this moisture kind of moving from this direction into the eastern U.S., you would probably end up seeing more winter weather breaking out further to the south. So you continue to move forward, and I think I pulled up double tabs here. So look at the GFS. What does it show? The latest GFS, same thing, Friday afternoon. Watch out for a little bit of light snow there in the mountains, and then here it is. It's not as amped up, as crazy looking, but it shows more snow than ice, which would be fantastic, right? But this is Saturday morning. Shows a really, I wouldn't say thin, but it's kind of a more narrow band of snow up here from northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, into Tennessee, into the Carolinas, and then coldest. I think the GFS is a great example of cold air pressing down on the moisture and how the moisture presses south with it. But that's heavy snow in like Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg area. And then everything literally sags south. I mean, then now it's snowing in the eastern shoreline of North Carolina, Myrtle Beach, and snowing in my neck of the woods here, which, by the way, keep not getting personal here, but this looks like a pretty big winter storm signal for us here in South Carolina. I know I got probably the bulk of, if there's any state where the most people tune in on this channel, it's probably South Carolina, because this is where I first started talking weather. But the Euro AI model, it shows something too. Getting into Saturday, there's just a big, beefy storm system moving into some cold air, but there's not a lot of cold air aloft. So you look at this, and then you look at temperatures, and that is a nasty freezing rain event for North Carolina. The cold air is just starting to move into the Carolinas. You can see by the time we get into this frame, it's 32 degrees in Columbia. And if you look in Charlotte, it's in the mid to low 20s. It's in the teens up into areas of Virginia, northern North Carolina. Look at these cold temperatures in Tennessee. And then if you look at the precipitation, starting to move out of Tennessee, this is a massive winter storm for the mid-Atlantic, upper southeast, if this is the way it plays out. And then it moves away. And then, look, it shows something again at the end. Holy smokes, I hadn't even seen this. So let's look at temperatures here. Oh my goodness. Wow. So that's next Wednesday and Thursday. That looks like, that is crazy. Let's look at what it says snow-wise with this. Yeah, that drops a couple inches of snow all the way down to Jacksonville. That's just crazy. This pattern coming up is just nuclear. It is just ridiculous. Eastern U.S. Canadian model. Not the best model run, but we'll show it because it's guidance. But it just shows this extremely, extremely long-lived winter storm that is about a day lagged. But look at it. Just view the orange and the pink as a wintry mix. Don't get too caught up in anything else. The blue is snow. But look at this Sunday morning. This is Sunday midday. And then it shows another round into next Monday. And good gracious. And then the very end of the run, here comes Arctic air diving down. So, same thing, as what we discussed with the central U.S., the eastern U.S. The Euro ensemble makes up 51 members, blends them all together. So this is the 4-day snow footprint, 96 hours. So you'll see it pop up on your screen, then disappear. And look at this. Look how it bubbles up on your screen. And that is a loud snow signal going through the mid-south, into the upper southeast, into the mid-Atlantic. And this does have a chance to ooze southward. And if you're like in the deep south, like, dude, what's up with this area? Well, I'll show you the ice graphic here in a second. But that is a strong signal in the North Carolina, Tennessee for snow, and it could easily shift to the south or to the north. And same thing, GFS ensemble, 4-day period here. And I mean, it has a much snowier look. It has a stronger snow signal all the way down to South Carolina, northern Georgia. But I mean, it's just really hovering over areas in the mid-Atlantic, points south into the southeast, areas of the mid-south here. And you can see how you have this weird little kind of indentation right here. That is because of cold air damming. I'll discuss that here in a second. But then you look at the ice graphic, and this is kind of the western, kind of east central areas here, and that's a strong signal for freezing rain, folks. I know my face is probably blocking out portions of the Carolinas. I'll show you that here in a second. But remember, anything over a 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain, you start to have power outages. You start to have the bending of the branches, you know, falling on power lines, stuff like that. Look at the Carolinas. I mean, that's over a 1/2 inch freezing rain signal on my neck of the woods. I mean, that is a very strong, very, very strong cold air damming signal here. So that's all your crazy model runs. What about, you know, geeking out with you here? So let's start off by looking at the 500 millibar pattern. And then we'll look at some other things like high pressure, low pressure, and all that. So the big blue blob that's an eyesore here on your screen with the green embedded into it, that's a trough. That's lower pressure, lower heights. It's a cold air source, and it brings energy with it. Now you see this little blob of blue here? It's like a Baja low. That's playing a picture on our moisture source. That's the word I was looking for. So at this point, you look at the pattern itself, and we got this spiking. That's not what I want to do here. You got this spiking ridge up into Alaska, ridge trying to build over portions of the western U.S., and we have this kind of bowled out, intense trough right here. This is funneling in cold air. Once upon a time, we thought the ridge was really going to flex into here, and it still could, but we're leaning towards that not happening. So this big area of trough here, this trough of low pressure, is bringing down some deep Arctic air. Now I want you to watch how this kind of positions itself a little bit more this way. Okay, as we're moving forward, you know, that trough, sort of the most intense portion of this trough, our cold air source, begins to move over areas of eastern Canada, the northeast, Atlantic Canada. And then we have this area right here that shows up, which is kind of a blended ensemble run of our Baja low. This is energy that's going to try to undercut right down here. And then I know it's throwing you off because you see this right here and you're thinking, well, Mitch, that's a ridge. It's probably going to bring us above average temperatures. Not so fast. This is a great example of how we don't live at 500 millibars, which is 18,000 feet up in the air. So we're going to watch this area, which is a moisture surge. We're going to try to move into this way. This is another cold air source. And let's just keep this going here. We're going to get into Saturday. And that is a deep cold air source. Okay, right into here. What this is going to do is this is going to slingshot some cold air down here and create a cold high pressure somewhere, I mean, over this area of the country. All right, here comes our lower pressure scooting in. It's going to run into cold air damming, which is going to be, I mean, set up over east of the mountains, but I mean, we're just going to have cold air just in general hitting areas west of the mountains too. And I know, I'm going to be real with you, this is an extremely hard setup to explain on the 500 millibar chart because a lot of it doesn't make sense. For example, you know, you're probably thinking, well, how in the world do we have a winter storm Sunday, Saturday to Sunday, with what looks like a ridge over the southeast? Well, this ridge can bring warm air aloft. Okay, it brings warm air aloft, but at the surface, you have this feature right here, diving in cold air at the surface. Warm air aloft, cold air at the surface. You can still get winter weather, but remember, warm air aloft does not favor snow. You need cold air aloft for snow. So you can have temperatures at 25 degrees, but you might not get snow because you have warm air aloft. That's what this ridge can do. So we need to smash that down if we want all snow. And all of a sudden, you already have another trough setting up, and that's about to bring a lot of cold air right after this winter storm threat. It's crazy. I mean, this look is insane. And it's a great example of this. When you look at the temperature anomalies, right? So this is Friday morning. Friday morning on the upper heights look here looks like this. Okay? So if you compare this look with this look, it matches up well. Cold air is coming down. All right. So as that trough positions itself to the east, the cold air begins to move to the east and bleed to the east. Folks, I can't even begin to explain how cold this cold air is up here. This is peak climate, mid-late January. This is the 23rd until the 24th. So if you got Barney showing up on your map, that's 25 to 30 degrees below average in an area of the country where your average highs are already well below freezing. So, I mean, you have an intense cold air source sitting on top of the south that's going to ooze down to the south. So we start to take it more into Saturday, more into Sunday. And you're going to see what looks like, I mean, it's still extremely cold. Even the green, I mean, that's, 10, 15 degrees below average. But you kind of see this area that's kind of going like this. That's a signature for cold air damming with cold air coming down into this region. I mean, it's still plenty of cold over here, too, to support a winter storm if you got the moisture. And you continue to go here, and I mean, it just continues to look cold. And we go 10 days out, and there's a signal for just an intense shot of cold air, even at the end of the run. And we can have winter weather in this time frame too. But this is something I don't show you a lot, but this is high pressure, low pressure. So remember, and this is Thursday morning, you go back to this, we go back to that. This is low pressure itself, lower heights. Okay? And if you look at this, you can see it there too. So another way to look at this is that as that trough, that lower pressure, lower heights shifts to the east, this yanks down cold air that kind of comes down this way. So on the Euro itself, you have over a 1040 cold high pressure. This is going to bring intense cold Arctic air on what looks to be lower pressure developing across this region and scooting under this cold high. Now I want you to watch kind of what develops into here as we move forward. You get this intense looking cold air damming look that begins to show up over the eastern U.S. So you see how these isobars are kind of buckling like this? That is because our cold air source is still over this area right here. Okay, I don't know what I was doing there. Cold air source still over here, but you also have a secondary cold air source here that's just diving and funneling in a lot of cold air east of the mountains. It kind of gets trapped east and it funnels down. And then you see this blue, that's lower pressure, that's moisture hitting that. So you have what basically is moisture undercutting, riding over very cold air. Aloft, it's warmer. We need to fix that if we want to get rid of this icing scenario. But I just think it's going to be very tough to avoid ice in this setup. So of course, the Climate Prediction Center, which I will add, it starts this time frame out kind of at the end of this winter storm time frame and extends this past. But look at this, the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook going from below average temperatures for the central to the eastern U.S. with a chances at above average precipitation. Insane. And then you look at the 26th through the 1st, below average temperatures for the eastern U.S., but it looks like it starts to get drier. But my word, guys, I mean, we have worked ourselves into one of the most favorable winter storm setups for a widespread area that I've seen in years. So, I mean, it's full steam ahead. We got to figure this one out. There is going to be so much to talk about, guys. But thank y'all for tuning in. We'll have you revised information in the morning. The videos are going to be long, especially in the mornings where we're trying to blend in what we got in front of us mixed with the daily forecast and keeping the Bible devotions and stuff like that. So this one hadn't even hit the 25-minute mark, so that's good. That's a start. But yeah, we're lock and loaded, guys. We got a lot to figure out. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.